New York's next mayor made a vow the world couldn't ignore. Arrest Benjamin Netanyahu if he ever lands in his city. Now a councilwoman dares him to prove it, inviting Netanyahu to town on day one. Will Zohran Mamdani keep his word or face his first political reckoning? New York City's mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani has not yet taken office, but he is already at the center of a political storm. His campaign promised to arrest Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu if he ever set foot in the city has prompted a sharp response, and now a direct challenge. Republican councilwoman Inna Vertex, who represents southern Brooklyn's 48th district, home to one of New York's largest Jewish populations, has formally invited Netanyahu to visit the city on January 1st, the same day Mamdani is sworn in. The invitation, posted on X, appears designed to test the mayor-elect's controversial vow. Vertex wrote,
"In recent months, Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani has made absurd claims about arresting you in New York. Regardless of opinions on your policies, you are Israel's elected leader, a beacon of democracy and strength in a region of tyranny."
Her letter reignited fierce debate in a city already deeply divided over the war in Gaza and the politics surrounding it. The International Criminal Court, which the United States does not recognize, issued an arrest warrant for Netanyahu in November 2024, accusing him of war crimes and crimes against humanity for Israel's conduct in Gaza, including starvation as a method of warfare and intentionally directing attacks against civilians. Mamdani, a democratic socialist and vocal pro-Palestinian activist, had pledged during his campaign that he would honor the ICC warrant. Critics branded his remarks reckless and anti-Semitic, while supporters hailed them as a rare show of moral courage in American politics. The controversy marks an early test of Mamdani's political judgment and leadership style. Though he won the November 4th election convincingly, his victory came despite widespread criticism from Jewish groups. In late October, over 650 rabbis signed an open letter condemning Mamdani's stance on Israel, accusing him of holding beliefs fundamentally at odds with the values of New York's Jewish community. Despite the criticism, Mamdani has sought to strike a conciliatory tone since his victory.
"We will build a city hall that stands steadfast alongside Jewish New Yorkers and does not waver in the fight against the scourge of anti-Semitism."
Still, his earlier remarks have left lingering mistrust. And with Vertex's invitation now public, the stage is set for a confrontation that could dominate his first days in office. Mamdani's campaign pledge was rooted in his interpretation of international law. Speaking to journalist Mehdi Hassan on Zeteo, he said that, as mayor, he would showcase a model of what politics could be, a city that believes in international law. When asked whether he would act if Netanyahu visited alongside President Donald Trump, he replied bluntly,
"Someone who has perpetrated a genocide of Palestinians should not be celebrated."
However, legal experts have dismissed Mamdani's proposal as symbolic at best. The United States is not a signatory to the Rome Statute, which created the ICC, meaning its arrest warrants hold no legal authority on American soil. Furthermore, foreign policy and international law enforcement fall exclusively under federal jurisdiction, leaving city officials with no power to act. Mamdani has since acknowledged those limits. Speaking again to Zeteo, he clarified that he would operate within legal boundaries.
"I'm going to operate within the bounds of the law. I'm not Donald Trump seeking to create my own legal system."
His critics, however, view his stance as dangerous and inflammatory, particularly given the spike in anti-Semitic incidents reported in the city since the Gaza war began. Netanyahu, meanwhile, appears unfazed. At a White House meeting in July 2025, he was asked about Mamdani's threat. He simply said, "It doesn't bother me," while Trump said, "I'll get him out."
But for the Prime Minister, the likely next mayor of New York City, Zohran Mamdani, a Democratic socialist, is a vocal critic of Israel and of yourself, and has said he would arrest you if you came to New York City if he was mayor. Is that something you take seriously, or are you concerned about that? Do you have a response to that?
No, I'm not concerned about that.
I'll get him out.
In an apparent attempt to temper tensions, Mamdani told NBC New York that he would soon reach out to the White House.
I'll work with President Trump where it benefits New Yorkers. But if his policies hurt this city, I'll resist. Our success depends on cooperation, not submission.
Still, the relationship begins under strain. Ahead of the November election, Trump had threatened to withhold federal funding from New York City and even warned of a federal takeover if what he called Communist Mamdani won. Now both leaders appear locked in a test of wills, with Netanyahu's January visit potentially becoming the flashpoint. The Mamdani-Netanyahu controversy is more than a political squabble. It underscores the ideological divide shaping American urban politics. Born in Uganda to Indian parents, Mamdani represents a new generation of progressive leaders blending local governance with global causes. In this case, Palestinian rights and opposition to Israeli policy. Behind the politics lies a larger geopolitical shadow. Netanyahu's potential arrival would mark his first visit to New York since the ICC's war crimes warrant, an act seen by supporters as defiance and by opponents as provocation. The visit could test not only Mamdani's rhetoric, but also the city's ability to navigate a crisis where local politics collide with international law. For now, Netanyahu's office has not confirmed whether he will accept Vernikov's invitation. But even the possibility has electrified debate across political circles. Legal experts say Mamdani's hands are tied. Federal law prohibits any city authority from detaining a foreign leader, particularly one with diplomatic immunity. Yet symbolically, the confrontation could define his administration's tone, one that pits his idealism against the practical constraints of office. As January 1st approaches, both sides appear ready to make a statement. For Mamdani, it's about asserting moral leadership in a city that calls itself a global capital of human rights. For Vernikov and her allies, it's about defending Israel's legitimacy and challenging what they see as rising anti-Semitism in progressive politics. Either way, the world will be watching when Netanyahu's plane touches down and New York's new mayor faces his first true test of power.